Hello to all my dear students of class 9. So, we will be starting yet another chapter this week. The name of the chapter is Electoral Politics. Okay, so in this chapter, we are, yet going to talk about another important feature of democracy, okay, which is election. Okay, so we will be talking about what is election in this chapter. Okay, then we will also be discussing about why do we need elections. Okay, and what makes elections democratic. This is very, very important. Okay, so having elections is not enough. The elections that we conduct in a democracy, it has to be done in a very democratic manner. Okay, so what makes the elections democratic, this is the topic that we shall be studying in this chapter. Then we will also be talking about whether it is good to have electoral competition or not. Okay, naturally, democracy. In a democracy, you will see many political parties, you will see many candidates. Okay, so naturally, a competition will be there. All right, so whether this competition is good or not, we shall discuss about this in this chapter. After that, we will move on to discussing about the entire system of election. Okay, what are the different steps that comes in the process of election? Okay, how is election conducted in our country? What are the different kind of steps that they follow? We will be studying about that in detail. And lastly, we will be talking about what makes elections in India democratic. Okay, so elections in India, in the Indian context, elections, whether it is democratic in India or not, okay, and what makes the elections in India democratic if it is a democratic election. So we shall be studying about that, and also we will also be looking at the challenges that we face in a democracy. Okay, or challenges to free and fair elections. That would be the last topic that we have in this chapter. Okay, so this is the general overview of what we will be doing in this chapter. Now, we all know that democracy, is a people's government. All right, because people choose their leaders in a democracy. Right, we all choose our leaders. That's why democracy is called a people's government. It is a government for the people, of the people, and by the people. Right. Now, all the people cannot become leaders. Okay, so that is why what we have, in a democracy, or what a common form of democracy is a representative democracy. Okay, so all the people living in a democracy, they all cannot become leaders, right? That means we all cannot become leaders, right? So that's why we choose our representative. Okay, we choose representatives, we choose a leader, okay, who will represent us, okay, and speak for us, okay, or think about us, take decisions for us or on our behalf. Okay, so that is why most of the democracy that we follow, the common form of democracy that we see in most part of the world, is a representative democracy. Okay, that means we choose our representative. Okay, that brings us to the main topic of our chapter. What is election? All right, so we talked about choosing representative. I know. So how do we choose representative in a democracy? There needs to be a system, right? एउटा सिस्टम हुनु पर्यो नि लिडर चुज गर्नको लागि, representative चुज गर्नको लागि. Okay, and that is when we need election. Okay, so what is election? Basically, it is a mechanism through which people choose their representatives at regular intervals and change them if they wish to do so. Okay, so election भनेको चाहिँ it is a system through which as a people, as a citizen of a democratic country, we can choose our representative. Okay, and this has to be done at regular intervals. That means खाली एकपल्ट election गरेर एकपल्ट leader choose गरेर मात्रै हुँदैन. एउटा regular intervals. Just in India, we hold the elections after every 5 years. That means after every 5 years, the government changes, the leaders changes. All right. So at regular intervals, we are having elections. All right, so elections, this mechanism, okay, we choose our representatives, and this has to take place at regular intervals, okay, so that we can also change the leaders if we wish to do so. Okay, so that is what an election is. And most democracies, in the world, they conduct elections, and that is how they choose their representatives. Alright, so most of the democracies ma elections garcha, and elections ko through barane unale, people of those respective countries, they choose their representatives. Now, what if we don't have elections in a democracy? Okay, so let us, understand this importance of elections. Elections are important. We need to understand this. Okay, so to understand that, let us imagine a situation we don't have elections. Okay, let us imagine that our election hundaina re. Okay, so how do we rule? How do we choose our leaders? Okay, rule of people is possible only if all of us sit together every day and take decisions, right? So democracy ma elections हामीले supposing गरेन भने that means we cannot choose our leaders. Okay, if we cannot choose our leaders भनेपछि के गर्नु पर्यो? Every day decisions लिनुको लागि, रुल्सहरु बनाउनुको लागि, what has to happen is all of these people, okay, all of us, all of that means all the people of India, we all have to sit together at one place. We have to sit together every day, and we have to take decisions for our country and for ourselves. But do you think that is possible? Is it possible for through billions of people? Okay, India is a country with a large population, right? So through मान्छे चाहिँ एउटै जग्गामा सधैँ भेट भएर everyday decisions लिनु, do you think that is possible? It's not possible, right? It's an impossible thing. Okay, because not everyone will have the time. हामी सबैकोमा टाइम हुँदैन त्यस्तो एउटा जग्गामा. It's not possible also एउटा जग्गामा भेला हुनु, all Indians. Imagine, that's not possible, right? So we will not have the time, and most importantly, we will not have the knowledge required to take the decisions. We all are not knowledgeable people, right? We do not know how decisions are taken. We may not have the required resources. We do not have the required knowledge to take an important decision. All right, so that means it will not be possible. Okay, and let's say even if we select leaders on the basis of age or experience or knowledge or education, but then again, who is going to decide that? Okay, who is going to decide कसको चाहिँ age कति age को लागि दिनु हो? Okay, who is going to decide कसको experience ज्यादा हो? Who is going to decide who is more knowledgeable and who is more educated? Okay, that will be a big problem for us. Okay, so supposing if you choose someone as a leader, okay, तिमी leader हो भनेर भन्यो भने, do you think that will again be democratic? No, it will not be democratic, right? So it is impossible to rule a country, to take decisions for the country. Okay, especially a democratic country ko लागि, a people's government form गर्नको लागि elections गरेन भने things will be very very difficult for us. Okay, that means all the responsibility will come on us. Okay, and we as common people, we will not have the required knowledge, required resources, we will not have the time, okay, and the energy to take big decisions for our country. Okay, so there will be a lot of chaos, a lot of conflict huncha, because so many people are there, so many people will say so many things, and decision making process will be very very difficult. All right, so elections bhayena bhane, these are the things, this is the complication hamro huna sakcha. It will be very difficult for us to run the country. It will be very difficult for us to take decisions, everyday decisions linu pani. It will be very very difficult for us if we do not have elections. That is why elections, it is very very necessary. Okay, so we need elections because in election voters make choices, right? Elections चाहिन्छ हामीलाई. Okay, so why do we need elections? Because elections मा चाहिँ के छ, votersहरुले थुप्रो choicesहरु गर्न सक्छ. We as a voters, we will have many choices. Okay, one of the thing is we can choose who will make laws for us. That means हाम्रो लागि laws कसले बनाउने. Okay, त्यो हामीले के गर्न सक्छ, decide गर्न सक्छ. Okay, we can choose who will form the government and take the major decisions. Okay, so कसले हाम्रो behalf, since we cannot form the government, since we cannot take all the decisions, so हामीले के गर्छ, elections को through बाट we will choose those people who will form the government and who will take all the important decisions on behalf of us. Okay, and that's the second reason why we need election. Now the third reason why we need election is because through elections, we can choose the party whose policies will guide the government and the law making. Okay, so when we are choosing a political party, every political party has आफ्नो policies, programs हुन्छ. That means if they win the election, उनीहरु कति वर्षको लागि government form गर्छ, 5 years, right? त्यो 5 years मा त्यो political party ले के plan गरेको छ country को लागि, how are they planning to rule, what are the different kind of programs they want to do, what are the different policies उनीहरूले अगाडिदेखि नै plan गरेको हुन्छ नि. Did you understand? So त्यसले गर्दाखेरि when we choose a political party through elections, we are choosing the policy that will guide the government and the law making. Okay, so these are the three reasons, these are the three basic reasons why we need to have elections. Okay, the simple answer is because through elections voters have these choices. Okay, so these three are the main choices. Okay, and that's the reason why we need to have elections in a democracy. So that is clear with you. Now moving on to the next topic, what makes elections democratic? Okay, now see, most of the there are many countries that are democratic, there are many countries which are not democratic. Okay, कतिवटा democratic countries चाहिँ त elections गर्छै गर्छ. See, all the democratic countries they have elections, but there are certain non-democratic countries, they also held elections. Okay, but now the point is, elections गरेर मात्रै country democratic हुँदैन. The point is that elections that are conducted, it has to be done in a very democratic manner. Okay, so that is why we are coming to this question, what makes the election democratic? So whatever elections is happening in a country, to elections democratic छ कि छैन, how do we know that? Okay, so there are certain rules. Okay, so let's read the first one. Now, to make the elections democratic, the first thing is that everyone should be able to choose. This is very important. Okay, सबैजनाकोमा voting rights हुनुपर्छ. This means that everyone should have one vote and every vote should have equal value. That means सबैकोमा एक एकवटा vote हुनुपर्यो र सबैजनाको vote को value पनि के हुनुपर्छ, same हुनुपर्छ. Remember, we have read about one vote and one value. It's the same principle जुन चाहिँ यहाँ apply हुँदैछ. Okay, so if this is there, then we can say elections are democratic. Second thing is, there should be something to choose from. That means voters ले elections मा vote लाउन जाँदैछ, voters को के हुनु पर्यो, choice हुनु पर्यो. Party A, party B, party C भनेर different choices हुनु पर्यो. Okay, then that choice is very very important. Parties and candidates should be free to contest elections, and they should offer some real choice to the voters. Okay, that means थुप्रो political parties हुनु पर्यो, थुप्रो candidates हुनु पर्यो. From that, voters ले के गर्नु सक्छ, choose गर्नु सक्छ. Okay, I like this party, I like this candidate, so I'm going to vote for this. Okay, so this is how voters को choice हुनु पर्यो. Okay, and parties and candidates ले उनीहरूले real choice offer गर्नु पर्यो. That means each political party, each candidate, they should be different from one another in terms of their policies, in terms of their different kind of plans, okay, and their programs. That is what real choice means. So now the third thing that makes election democratic, the choice should be offered at regular intervals. Elections must be held regularly after every few years. Okay, so this is also very important. Okay, एकपल्ट मात्रै elections गरेर हुँदैन. Every certain every year elections गर्नु possible हुँदैन. Okay, so एउटा certain period हुन्छ. Okay, so at certain periods, the country must hold their elections. That means जुन चाहिँ choices people offer गर्दैछ, okay, त्यो चाहिँ regularly एउटा certain period मा उनीहरूले offer गरिरहनु पर्यो. Just in India, as I said earlier, elections take place after every 5 years. Okay, त्यसरी नै we read about Mexico already, right? Mexico मा elections are conducted after every 6 years. Okay, so this is how एउटा regular intervals मा elections conduct गरिरहनु पर्छ. This is also very important. If this is not there, that means elections democratic China. The fourth factor is that the candidate preferred by the people should get elected. That means जो candidate लाई चाहिँ people ले prefer गरेको छ, choose गरेको छ, that person should only be elected. Okay, so मान्छेले चाहेको चाहिँ अर्कै leader छ तर अर्कै elect हुँदैछ, that should not be there. Okay, the candidate preferred by the people should get elected. Okay, so now the fifth point is related to the fourth point. कसरी, see, how can that candidate जसलाई चाहिँ publicly चाहेको छ त्यही नै elect हुनुको लागि चाहिँ, the fifth point is very important. Elections should be conducted in a free and a fair manner where people can choose as they really wish. This is very important. Free and fair elections हुनुपर्छ. Okay, free भनेको everybody should be free to make their choices. ओके त्यसरी नै क्यान्डिडेट्सहरू पनि फ्री हुनुपर्छ इलेक्सन्समा उठ्नुको लागि ओके नो कसैलाई पनि रेस्ट्रिक्सन्सहरू हुनु भएन ओके भोटर्सहरू पनि फ्री हुनु पर्यो आफ्नो चोइस राख्नुको लागि आफूले चाहेको लिडर चुज गर्नुको लागि त्यसरी नै क्यान्डिडेट्सहरू पनि फ्रीली इलेक्सन्समा पार्टिसिपेट गर्नु पाउनुपर्छ द्याट इज वाट यु मिन बाई फ्री इलेक्सन्स ओके एन्ड फेयर इलेक्सन्स भनेको चाहिँ फेयर भनेको चाहिँ देयर सुड बी नो म्याल प्र्याक्टिसेस द्याट मिन्स कुनै प्रकारको चिटिङ कुनै प्रकारको फ्रड नगरिकन ओके कुनै म्याल प्र्याक्टिसेसहरू नगरिकन चाहिँ द इलेक्सन्स हेज टु बी कन्डक्टेड विदाउट एनी काइन्ड अफ चिटिङ विदाउट एनी काइन्ड अफ म्याल प्र्याक्टिसेस ओके सो फ्री एन्ड फेयर इलेक्सन्स द्याट इज अल्सो भेरी भेरी इम्पोर्टेन्ट ओके फ्री एन्ड फेयर इलेक्सन्स भयो भने चाहिँ पिपलले जसलाई चाहेको छ त्यही पर्सन के हुन्छ इलेक्ट हुन्छ okay so these are the 5 points which are very very important okay and these 5 points if these are there then that means we can say the election of that country is democratic all right but if any of these 5 points is not there भनेपछि the election के छैन democratic छैन okay so this you have to understand very very clearly okay now let's go to this question is it good to have political competition as I said earlier in a election okay in a democracy elections hundakheri there will be many political parties there will be many candidates who are fighting for power हैन त्यो एउटा पोजिसन को लागि okay सबैजना there will be many political parties okay and there will be many candidates जो चाहिँ त्यो इलेक्सनमा के गर्छ कम्पिट गर्छ okay so naturally they are all competing to win the election so whenever people competition they come because they want to win the election right so whenever this political competition is there okay is it good to have this competition or not that is the question okay your competition hunu ramro ho ki haina ho okay that is very very important let's try to understand this so there are certain demerits okay demerits भनेको यसको थुप्रो नेगेटिभ थिंग्स पनि छ okay because democracy मा competition is natural it will be there okay competition भएन भने that means त्यो democracy नै हैन because in a democracy there will be many political parties there will be many candidates right so जब थुप्रो हुन्छ naturally त्यहाँ के हुन्छ competition will be there okay so let's see the demerits okay so यसरी political competition हुँदाखेरि चाहिँ what can be the demerits है त्यसको negative effect चाहिँ के हुन सक्छ the first one is it creates a sense of disunity and factionalism in every locality okay that means that competition ज्यादा हुँदाखेरि चाहिँ के हुन्छ त्यो सोसाइटीमा डिभिजन आउन सक्छ okay because everybody will not be supporting एउटै क्यान्डिडेट नि हैन सबैजनाले एउटै पोलिटिकल पार्टीलाई सपोर्ट गर्दैन नि हैन मेरो पोलिटिकल I may be supporting a different political party you may be supporting a different political party your friend may be supporting a different political party alright so हाम्रो difference of choices ले गर्दाखेरि के हुन्छ there will be what disunity हैन हाम्रो बीचमा एउटा के हुन्छ हाम्रो ग्रुप्स अलग अलग हुन्छ नि सो एउटा डिसयुनिटी फर्म हुन्छ एउटा फ्याक्सनलिजम ग्रुपिजम क्रिएट हुन्छ okay so यसरी लोकालिटीमा ग्रुप्सहरु फर्म हुन्छ different group of people supporting different political parties and different candidate okay so this is one of the demerit of political competition the second demerit is that different political parties and leaders often level allegations against one another so this is very very bad okay so now you must have heard it very often political parties political leaders often news channels हरुमा आउँछ आजकल फेसबुक देखि लिएर ट्विटरहरुमा पनि हामीले कमनली देख्छ नि so leaders political parties इलेक्सन को टाइममा स्पेशली के हुन्छ they are leveling allegations on each other एउटाले अर्कोलाई नराम्रो भनिरहेको हुन्छ अर्कोले अर्कोलाई नराम्रो भनिरहेको हुन्छ okay so morally हेर्यो भने यो चाहिँ एकदमै के हो नराम्रो okay moral conduct मा आउँदैन नि यो हैन when we are saying something bad about someone else is it good no it is not good right so this kind of allegations when political parties and leaders are putting on each other this is also one of the demerit okay because morally यो एउटा के हैन राम्रो behavior हैन okay it is not good for the society also all right the third thing is that parties and candidates often use dirty tricks to win the election okay so like I said the competition becomes so tough okay and everybody wants to win okay सबैजनालाई जित्नु छ है सो त्यसले गर्दाखेरि के गर्छ जित्नुको लागि this जित्नु थिङ election win गर्नु it becomes so important that they are ready to do anything okay so उनीहरुले के गर्छ elections मा political parties candidates sometimes election जित्नुको लागि because it becomes so important, winning the election becomes so important that उनीहरू जे पनि गर्नु रेडी हुन्छ. Okay, so sometimes के गर्छ उनीहरूले dirty tricks, त्यो पनि use गर्छ. Okay, so like in the case of Mexico हामीले पढेको थियो नि, right? If you remember, Mexicoमा के हुन्थ्यो, polling booths were shifted at the last moment, है, the government employees they were forced to attend the party meetings. Okay, so all this kind of money powered use हुन्थ्यो, money use हुन्थ्यो, होइन, muscle power, मान्छेलाई धम्की दिएर इलेक्सन्समा भोट लाउँथ्यो. So this kind of dirty tricksहरू लिडर्सहरूले युज गर्नु सक्छ. And if this happens, then that is a very bad thing. So that is why this is one of the demerit भनेर भनेको छ. Okay, the fourth reason, this says that it does not allow sensible long-term policies to be formulated. Okay, so now as I said earlier, every political party को policies हुन्छ, 5 वर्ष government मा आए भने उनीहरू के गर्ने उनीहरूको plan हुन्छ नि. Okay, but when the competition is there, okay, so के हुन्छ भन्दाखेरि political parties छिटो छिटो power बाट they can be removed. Okay, to any time parties change भइबस्छ, powers बाट power shift भइबस्छ. Okay, that means आज एउटा political party छ, next time there will be another political party. So यसरी certain change हुँदाखेरि चाहिँ what happens is that long term policies, now policies there are some short term and there are long term. Short term भनेको जुन चाहिँ छोटो समयमा नै उनीहरूले अचिभ गर्न सक्छ. long term policies या long term goals भनेको चाहिँ goals जुन चाहिँ it will take many years. Okay, just for example, educationमा यदि केही चेन्ज ल्याउनु पर्छ भने we mostly के हुन्छ long term policies आउँछ नि. Okay, policies जुन चाहिँ त्यसमा चेन्ज ल्याउनु it will take many years, हैन, एकै रातमा हामीले चेन्ज ल्याउन सक्दैन नि. Okay, so policies short term and long term हुन्छ. Okay, so long term policies formulate हुनु चाहिँ long term policies it will be affected if there is a lot of competition, किनभने पार्टीजहरु के भएको छ power बाट चेन्ज भइबस्छ. Okay, so long term policies formulate हुन पाउँदैन if political competition is there. That is what is said here. Okay, and the last one says some good people who may wish to serve the country do not enter this arena. They do not like the idea of being dragged into unhealthy competition. Okay, so के हुन्छ, everybody thinks that politics is a very bad game. हैन, हामी सबैजनाले we all criticize politics, no it's not good भनेर भन्छ, हैन. So nobody wants to enter politics. Okay, because there is a lot of unhealthy competition. Okay, के गर्नुपर्छ, नराम्रो गर्नुपर्छ. Okay, there will be a lot of unhealthy competition, political competition चाहिँ unhealthy छ. Okay, so त्यसले गर्दाखेरि certain good people, okay, राम्रो people they don't want to enter the political field. Okay, because they think that there is a lot of unhealthy competition, नचाहिँदो competition छ. Okay, so they don't want to be dragged in this unhealthy competition. So त्यसले गर्दाखेरि राम्रो people politics मा आउनु मान्दैन. So what happens is that we lose a chance of having a good leader. Okay, यदि राम्रो मान्छेहरु elections मा आएन भने, politics मा आएन भने, we lose a chance of having a very good leader. Okay, so that is why political competition ko these demerits are there. Okay, these are the main 5 demerits that we can see it is there. But of course these demerits are there, but we cannot reject political competition because political competition is very important. Okay, so political competition को थुप्रो demerits छ, तर यो demerits ले गर्दाखेरि हामीले okay political competition हुनु हुँदैन, खाली एउटै मात्रै पार्टी होस् भनेर भन्यो भने again that will not be democracy. Okay, so we have to accept political competition with demerits. Okay, these demerits are there, तर यो demerits सँगसँगै पनि हामीले त्यसलाई accept गर्नुपर्छ because only then we can call it a democracy. Okay, and democracy मा competition will be there. Okay, and यो demerits लाई पनि हामीले accept गर्नुपर्छ. Okay, so our constitution makers, when the constitution makers, when they were making this constitution, they knew that certain this kind of problems आउँछ. Okay, this kind of demerits आउन सक्छ, यस्तो खालको problems आउन सक्छ भनेर उनीहरुलाई they were well aware. Okay, but still they opted for a free competition in election, as that is the that is the only way we can select our future leader. Okay, they did so because this system works better in the long run. Okay, long run मा हेर्यो भने demerits छ, तर पनि it is better in a democracy to have many choices rather than only having one or two parties. Okay, but of course we can deal with this situation. यो जुन चाहिँ demerits छ, यसलाई हामीले के गर्न सक्छ इम्प्रुभ गर्न सक्छ सो हाउ डु वी डिल विथ दिस रियल लाइफ सिचुएसन दिस इज रियल लाइफ सिचुएसन दिस डिमेरिट्स आर देयर इन डेमोक्रेसी ओके पोलिटिकल कम्पिटिसन भयो भने यस्तो डिमेरिट्स हुन्छ भनेर छँदैछ ओके वी क्यान नट से द्याट इट इज नट देयर ओके दिस डिमेरिट्स आर बाउन्ड टु बी सिन ओके वी अफन सी दिस इन डेमोक्रेसी okay but we cannot reject democracy only because of this okay but we have to find for a solution okay we have to try to improve this situation okay and that is what is being said here so how can we solve this problem what can we do to solve these demerits okay यो demeritsहरूलाई हामीले improve गर्नको लागि चाहिँ what can we do okay so there are certain suggestions that has been made one way is to try and improve the knowledge and character of political leader okay so हामीले political leadersहरू छान्दाखेरि चाहिँ we have to choose leaders who are knowledgeable and who have a better क्यारेक्टर ओके या त हामीले लिडर्सहरू राम्रो छान्नु पर्यो ओके लिडर्स जो चाहिँ नलेजेबल छ जो चाहिँ राम्रो क्यारेक्टर छ त्यस्तो लिडर्सलाई छान्नु पर्यो या त जो लिडर्सहरू छ उनीहरूलाई हामीले के गर्नु पर्यो राम्रो बनाउनु पर्यो okay and we also have to set up a system where political leaders are rewarded for serving the people and they are also punished for not doing so okay so यहाँ suggest गर्दैछ they are saying that to solve this problem there has to be a system through which we can punish our leaders okay if they are doing good उनीहरूलाई रिवार्ड गर्नुपर्छ and if they are not doing good हामीले उनीहरूलाई के गर्नु पर्यो पनिश गर्नु पर्यो so this system छ भने चाहिँ हामीले त्यो डिमेरिट्सहरूलाई के गर्न सक्छौँ चेक गर्न सक्छौँ okay and regular electoral competition provides incentives to political parties and leaders okay they know that if they raise issues that people want to be raised their popularity and chances of victory will increase in the next election but if they fail to satisfy the voters with their work they will not be able to win again okay so this is how we can reward and this is how we can punish our leaders okay so राम्रो गर्ने लिडर्सहरूलाई हामीले के गर्नु पर्यो the leaders the political leaders who are good who are raising our issues okay who are popular okay who are doing good for the country we have to vote for them and make them win the elections and the leaders who are not good उनीहरूलाई हामीले के गर्नु पर्यो we should not vote for them okay and our political leaders they are well aware of it है उनीहरूलाई याद छ that उनीहरूले राम्रो काम गर्यो भने उनीहरूलाई भोट गर्छ राम्रो काम गरेन भने उनीहरूलाई मान्छेले भोट गर्दैन so this is how political leaders and political parties-हरूलाई हामीले के गर्न सक्छ चेक गर्न सक्छ okay so this is the only way we can solve this demerits okay so we cannot reject it okay we cannot reject political competition because political competition is the basis of democracy okay this competition हुनु पर्छ choices हुनु पर्छ choices should be there should be many political parties there should be many political leaders okay because we need to provide people with choices okay but यो choices छ भने certain demerits छ त्यो demerits लाई हामीले के गर्न सक्छ improve गर्न सक्छ okay so we just discussed about it and I hope you are clear with this topic now we will look into the system of our election. So what is the system of our election? This is the basic thing we'll try to do in this topic. Okay, what is the system of our election? Okay, system of elections हाम्रो इन्डियामा कस्तो प्रकारले elections गराउँछ this is what we will talk about. So I've given you the picture of यहाँनिर Lok Sabha and the state legislative assembly of Sikkim. Okay, I'm sure you have seen the हाम्रो सिक्किमको legislative assembly. I'm sure you have seen it. It is located in Gangtok. The picture is given there, State Legislative Assembly. Right? So every state ko ke huncha, they have a legislative assembly for every state. Right? Every state ko after legislative assembly huncha. So they are only looking after that particular state. Just the Sikkim ko legislative assembly le hamro state lai matai hercha ni. त्यसरी नै West Bengal ko pani cha, okay? Aru states ko pani cha. All right? Then we have a national assembly. National assembly is for the entire country, right? Parliament. Okay, the Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha. That is a national assembly. So national assembly, it is for the whole country. I've shown you the picture of Lok Sabha here because Lok Sabha ko jo members are, the members are directly chosen by the people. Okay, Lok Sabha ko members se directly हामीले नै के गर्छ choose गर्छ. So that's why I've shown you the picture of Lok Sabha here because we are talking about election and we have elections direct elections only to the Lok Sabha. That means directly people ले Lok Sabha को members like choose गर्छ. So what is the system of our elections now? See, Lok Sabha and Vidhan Sabha. Vidhan Sabha भनेको assembly elections. They are held regularly after every 5 years in our country. Every 5 years मा लोक सभाको members हामीले choose गर्नु पर्यो. त्यसरी नै विधान सभा legislative assembly को पनि members हामीले फेर्नु पर्छ, change गर्नु पर्छ. Okay, so after 5 years, the term of all the elected, representatives, they come to an end. Okay, so what do you think? What is the, representative of the Lok Sabha called? Yes, they are called the MP, okay, Member of Parliament. And what is the representative of the Legislative Assembly called? They are called the MLA, that is Member of the Legislative Assembly. Okay, so यो MLA र MP को जुन चाहिँ term छ, the elected representative, they are the elected representative. Okay, so MLA is the elected representative to the state legislative assembly and MP is the elected representative to the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. Okay, so Lok Sabha ko directly elect huncha. I'm repeating that again. Okay, so after the term of 5 years is complete, 5 वर्षको बादमा जति पनि elected MPs and MLAs छ उनीहरुको term सकिन्छ and the Lok Sabha and the Vidhan Sabha they stand dissolve. That means 5 वर्षको बादमा term सकेपछि we call that assembly is dissolved भन्छ. That means हाम्रो त्यतिबेला technically MLA MPs हरु कोही पनि power मा हुँदैन. Okay, elections are held in all the constituencies at the same time, either on the same day or within a few days. Okay, जब elections all over the country, जति पनि constituencies छ, okay, त्यसमा जब elections हामीले same time मा गर्छ, same day मा गर्छ, okay, or within a few days गर्छ, that is called a general elections. Okay, we have general election. General election when the election is taking place in the entire country, okay, that is called the general elections. Okay, so general elections we choose the member of the Lok Sabha. Okay, and some states ko चाहिँ यो general elections हुँदा हुँदा नै legislative assembly को पनि elections हरु हुन्छ. Okay, sometimes election is held only for one constituency to fill the vacancy caused by death or resignation of a member. This is called a by-election. Okay, so now there is something called the by-election. So by-election चाहिँ कहिले हुन्छ भन्दाखेरि जब कुनै constituency को जो elected representative छ, जुन चाहिँ elected representative छ, that means जसले election मा जितेको थियो, त्यो elected representative चाहिँ कुनै कारणले गर्दा उले resign गर्यो भने या because of his death, okay, उसको resignation ले गर्दाखेरि या उसको death ले गर्दाखेरि त्यो जग्गा के भयो vacant हुन्छ, खाली हुन्छ. Okay, र त्यो जग्गा भर्नुको लागि चाहिँ त्यो जग्गामा अर्को member ल्याउनुको लागि चाहिँ फेरि election conduct गर्छ. And that is what you understand by election. Okay, so this is the system of election in our country.